Donald Trump's administration is already shaping up to be a kind of murderer's row of billionaires. By one count, he has already picked 8 billionaires for positions in his government. We just learned that he has selected a 9th billionaire as Deputy Defense Secretary.
There certainly have been successful business executives who have come in as Secretary of the Treasury or Secretary of Commerce or some of those kinds of positions before. But the idea that you would have a government where such a high proportion of the top ranks are filled by the wealthiest people in American society is I think not something we've seen in modern times. I think if you go back to sort of the Gilded Age and times of real corruption and real kleptocracy in government, you might find some similar things.
U.S. News and World Report added up the total net worth of these figures and came up with a whopping $344 billion.
I mean, there are really two, I think, major problems that can come from what you have here with all of these billionaires in top positions. People have their own investments, their own companies, their own contracts that could benefit from the work they do. You could have people making decisions about how to run the Department of Defense or any other department that affects American national interest and the American people based on whether their own investments are going to pay off. And that's a huge problem. And then there's the sort of broader issue. And if you have a government that is primarily made up of billionaires, there's a real risk that that government is going to broadly govern for the benefit of the very wealthy, rather than in the interest of regular people. When it comes to deploying the military or spending billions and billions of dollars in taxpayer money, and so the idea that you're then going to put in place people who are benefiting from those very contracts is concerning. Obviously, you want people with expertise, and so often people become Secretary of Defense or Deputy Secretary because they have either direct military experience or civilian experience with the military.
It's obviously true that you want people that have expertise in a particular field, and
the revolving door is a really unfortunate DC tradition. Yeah, I mean, one thing that we saw again and again in the first Trump administration were people coming into whether it was cabinet positions or deputy positions and immediately making decisions that benefited former clients, former companies, companies to which they had ties.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really grim for at least the next 2 years. It achieved real penetration in the culture, and that's where we are.